What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs. Today, there was a lot of trickery going on. We actually opened up looking like we were going to start rallying to tell the truth. We were above the 20 EMA. We were looking solid. There was a couple different stocks, especially Tesla had the deliveries come out, shattering expectations. They were already starting to run pre-market. A lot of tech was starting to run pre-market. Banks look like they're ready to hold. Value looks like they're ready to hold. And then we had the bell. Bell kicked off, and everything attempted to run, then stalled very quickly, and was a battle for that first 30 minutes of open. And then at the 10 o'clock hourly candle, which is typically what I play, I always play on the hourly candle. It opened up and it actually opened below the 20 here. Essentially happening, there was news on Facebook was one of it. I don't know if there was a sole catalyst behind everything. We had evergreen news over the weekend. We had rates, and we also have the vote this week as well, which is something to keep in mind. We do have the vote for the debt ceiling this week, and so that is going to be a major bearish catalyst for this week, and something to keep in mind. So this week, I'm pretty much bullish or bearish, excuse me, going into this week. I know we've sold off a lot, but there is still a lot of way we can fall down. We've been so very bullish. We have yet to see what the bears can bring to the table. But today they really showed up in force. And that second hourly candle that actually opened up, we tanked pretty hard. I actually grabbed SPX puts at that point. Actually got caught in some Google calls, which I sold quickly, flipped and jumped in XPX puts from that point because the market was just coming down. The force was too great. All tech just started selling off. Again, I don't know if it was because of Facebook. Facebook had news. I think that they possibly got hacked, as what the case was, but everything was shut down for like 5 hours. And so that includes Instagram, WhatsApp, and all that. So Facebook was selling off really badly. Tesla attempted to try to push and break 100 or 800. It did get a little ways above 800. I think it peaked at 809, and then it essentially started selling off from that point. Everything else, all tech was just starting to sell. Nothing was holding. Everything was at support. And this is what's concerning for me, is a lot of stuff was at support. And I thought we may have found a bottom, but it broke support. Amazon, another one. I talked about this last week. I didn't want it to break this support. It broke and it was holding underneath. And today it just sold off like crazy at the open. Hit another support here. I do expect some kind of bounce and retest, and then possibly even more selling from this point. Or maybe we just start consolidating. If we start consolidating, that's great. Right now, what I'm looking for is consolidation before I start really looking at us reversing from this point, because the bulls are essentially nowhere to be found. They pick up after the news, and right now there's just so much negative news catalysts out there right now. Again, Evergrande, again, the vote for the debt ceiling. And another big thing is Biden came out and started talking about the debt ceiling today as well, essentially throwing threats out there about what can happen to the stock market and how the stock market essentially get leveled if the debt ceiling isn't passed, and that everybody's 401ks would essentially be wiped out if it didn't get passed. So his threats were not helping the market. The market didn't like that, and we just continued to sell from that point. Then we chopped around towards the end of the day. Weak bounce, not good in my opinion. We have to kind of see what the market's going to open up as. I can see us trading flat overnight. Maybe we gap up. Maybe we gap up and retest on Amazon, and then we start selling off, or maybe we start consolidating. But ultimately, I'm not bullish on these until they start breaking back above some of these supports, because we're breaking through some major supports coming down here. So even if you look at Tesla had that nice gap for the numbers, attempted to push, hit 806, and then just sold off. This is actually on the daily. It still looks really good on the daily. We're kind of getting a retest here on the wedge, which I was looking at. So something to watch tomorrow. Google, same thing. It was a wedge break, a retest, and it kind of bumped back up. But you do have the 20 and the 50 EMA coming back down towards us. Normally a bullish signal or a bearish signal, excuse me. And so again, we still have a lot of room. We're going to sell all the way up to the 200. I don't know if Google, the one with the best earnings, is selling like the way it does. It's just buttering straight through support. That is not a good sign. There is a lot going on, a lot of negative catalysts going on all at one time. And then again, there's a lot of news being brought up about the feds and insider trading and all this other stuff. So there's a lot of stuff just coming to the forefront and being exposed right now that is not helping the market. Again, for almost 3 months, we didn't have a negative catalyst. We just kept going up. So to expect this, you should be expecting this because this is normal. We do have pullbacks like this, and it's completely normal. And so don't expect the market to just turn around after just selling maybe 10, 20 points because we are still only at I think it's 5.8% from the top. From the time we started selling till now, percent correction, we still can go to 10%, 12%, or even possibly 15% in the correction. So being said, we still have a lot of ways to sell. We can still get all the way down here and start flirting with the 200 on Google. So that's something to keep in mind. Apple broke support and started testing lower support. Yes, we have earnings coming up here, 10/28 to end of the month, but I think we've had this catalyst before. We sold off right till the week before earnings, and then we got earnings, and it was wishy-washy, and then the week after we started running. So that is something to keep in mind that we could possibly do. But coming into it, we really have to see what's going to happen. We have to take it day by day. Again, when we start selling, there's no point trying to catch the bottom. Yes, there's support, intraday support. If you're going to play intraday, that's fine. But ultimately, if you want to start taking swings and stuff, you really want to wait until you get confirmation that we are actually headed back up. And normally we'll see that if SPX has a major move, a 20-point move in a day, extremely fast, then you know the market is ready to start flipping back and start pushing forward. From that point, you start looking for the laggers. Being said, from here on out, Roblox has actually been doing extremely well through this whole thing. Actually started pushing up nicely, but did hit support to retesting 200. I want to see if this starts to sell tomorrow. Snap is taking a beating. A lot of these things are starting to break supports, which is not good. Again, it's much needed. Even though it's not good, it is something that has been much needed for 3 months. Again, we haven't had any reason to sell before then, and now we do. Now we're getting all sorts of reasons to sell, all sorts of new news that is actually possibly impactful, brings a lot of uncertainty into the market that is going to drop us. SQ. SQ broke support today and started selling off. I did push up a little bit. I do really like SQ for earnings, but I want to see again what happens and how much further down we're going to go. We've already hit 224. 210 would be nice. Even I mean, if it really gets down to 200, I mean that's just. I think Square's a steal if it gets back to 200. I don't think it's going to get that far down. Even right now, if you were just an investor, these are anything under 200 is fantastic. So if you're trying to invest, you're looking at these 200 moving averages on the daily. And once it hits below that, you just start buying. Again, dollar cost averaging if you are trying to invest. But if you are going for swings or intraday trading and stuff like that, for any kind of longer swings, you definitely want to wait till you get get confirmation on the reverse before you start buying in. If you're just buying and holding, then now would be a good time to start buying. But being said, again, Amazon broke below. I want to see where that goes tomorrow. Shop also breaking. It did hold the 200. But I want to see actually if I could get this down at this essentially the 1200 mark, that'd be fantastic with Shop. Again, I'm not sure how much more selling we're going to have. I think we are still in the midst of selling. So I think we'll still see a lot more selling coming. Again, we could still reverse. This market has been very iffy. We could still reverse and start shooting back up. So just something to keep in mind. Chips aren't looking very good either. They've broken some major supports coming down. NVIDIA, I think, could even possibly hit 188 for a nice bump, maybe reverse at that point. AMD, it's barely holding on. Essentially the 100 mark. If it does break that 100 mark, it's got some room to drop from that point. So we want to see on that one. But chip shortages, there's just a lot of issues with the chips and the shortages and forward projections and stuff. We saw that in the MU earnings. Forward projection, I mean, they crushed earnings, but came down pretty hard, and I'm expecting that with the rest of the chips as well. Airbnb is finally actually selling off. It finally did break support. I want to see what this actually opens up tomorrow. Expecting this to come down. 157 would be nice. There's support there. I would like it lower than that because I feel like Airbnb is high, especially after coming at some of these levels at the 130 mark. Will it come all the way back down to the 130, 140? I don't know. Maybe 140, but to come way back down at 130, I think the market would be hurting pretty bad if it did do that. But let me see. I think that is pretty much it. I'll be honest. This market is an interesting market. Everything, it's hard to try to play if you're trying to scalp or anything like that. You definitely want to be extremely patient with what's going on. Let things play out. Kind of just let that first 30 minutes go. And then from that point, try to play it. Wait for the setup. Don't just take anything. And even though I have zones, I don't just take it in a zone. I try to wait for it to make sense. If the market is still selling, I try for it to make sense. Or if I'm wrong, I try to cut as quick as possible. Then find another outlet. Like even today, like I said, with Google, I was a good support. I thought it would reverse. I got in. It started to kind of push up, and then it reversed quickly. I got out. Saw that SPX was actually breaking under support, and I got in puts, essentially covered my loss, and still made gains today off of that because of that. So you definitely have to be on your toes on this market. And then even for me, if I'm scalping, I try to keep it in the morning, and then I don't try to scalp in the afternoon. In the afternoon, I either try to take shares or I try to take longer term positions at that point. But typically right now, I've just tried to hold off in the afternoon. I still watch the market, but I'm very hesitant because there's been a lot of sticking points in the afternoon, and then the algos take over, and then you're battling against algos trying to turn small profits. The volatility dies down, the volume dies down, and that's essentially it. It's dead for the day. It's a little bit of volatility towards the end of the day, and then again back in the morning. So again, if you've made it this far, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later.